All right, in this question, we have a situation where we're considering university towns with major football programs and what happens when their demand for their hotel rooms increases during home football weekends. Usually, these hotels will respond to the increase in demand by increasing the prices they're charging for these rooms. And usually, there's an outcry against these higher prices, and people accuse them of price gouging. So, let's take a look at all the scenarios where we have a market for hotel rooms on weekends without games, weekends with games, and weekends where there's a price ceiling intact. This first scenario, in the weekend without games and there's no price ceiling, then supply and demand is in equilibrium and prices are at P1 and quantity is at Q1. With games, with a surge in demand as demand goes up from D0 to D1, then you're going to have an increase in quantity demanded from Q1 to Q2. But this will push up prices from P1 to P2. And so prices go, if that change in price is exorbitant, then people are going to complain about it. And the last scenario we have here is with the price ceiling. So let's say the price ceiling is intact at the original equilibrium price at P1 and quantity demand supplied at Q1. But because demand will still go up to Q2, there's going to be a shortage of Q2 minus Q1, which is indicated over here. And essentially, if prices are allowed to increase, then all of the out-of-town football fans will be facing a shortage of hotel rooms, as you can see. There'll be way too much demand for the amount of supply, because hotels won't provide more rooms if there's no incentive for them to do so, which would be being able to charge these higher prices. Now, we also want to know what will happen to the supply of hotel rooms over time if this law remains intact. Well, since hotels will earn lower profits if they're not allowed to set prices differently during weekends, one can expect the exit of many hotels from the market. Lower profits will not only discourage new hotels to be set up, but the existing ones will also tend to exit the market. This will lead to a fall in the supply of hotels and hotel rooms, which would be bad for everybody involved. And finally, let's consider alternative markets where we might see this kind of off-peak and on-peak demand characteristic, as well as think about why we don't typically see laws that limit the prices hotels can charge during such peak seasons. Well, first, let's answer the latter question. We usually don't see laws limiting the prices that hotels can charge during peak seasons because hotels actually pay large taxes to the government, which are usually very proportionate to the hotel's revenues. So, the lawmakers who get paid by taxes will want to keep the pre-tax revenue of hotels as high as possible, thus discouraging such laws on the hotels. For example, over here, if prices were not allowed to rise from P1 to this point P2 over here, then the pre-tax revenue of these hotels would be much lower, which means less taxes for the government. And furthermore, it can not having this kind of price ceiling in place keeps external tourism coming in and benefits society overall. An example of seasonal demand is water parks. The demand for water parks is highest during the summers and lowest during the winters. Conversely, you can think about ski resorts too, where demand is highest during winter and lowest during summer. So as you can see, there are a lot of examples of markets where this kind of off-peak, on-peak demand seasonality is present.